Willow and the Sleepy Star Garden. Read by Chuck Brown. Once upon a time, in a cozy little cottage at the end of Whispering Woods, lived a gentle girl named Willow. She had curly hair the color of midnight and eyes that sparkled like tiny stars. Willow loved bedtime more than anything else in the whole wide world, because bedtime meant magical adventures in her dreams. Her bedroom was filled with all her favorite sleepy time things. There was a special lavender-scented pillow that usually helped her drift off, her collection of soft stuffed animals arranged carefully on her windowsill, and her beloved music box that played the gentlest lullaby. The walls were painted the softest blue, like a twilight sky, and glow-in-the-dark stars dotted the ceiling in the pattern of her favorite constellations. But tonight was different. Tonight, Willow couldn't fall asleep no matter how hard she tried. She counted sheep jumping over a wooden fence. She counted fluffy white clouds drifting across the sky. She even counted the freckles on her teddy bear's chocolate-brown nose. She tried lying on her back, then on her side, then curled up like a little kitten. She fluffed her pillow 3 times and rearranged her blankets twice. Nothing worked. The moon outside her window seemed unusually bright tonight, casting silver shadows that danced across her bedroom floor. It seemed to be winking at her, as if it knew a secret that it was just waiting to share. "Oh, moon," Willow whispered softly, pressing her face against the cool glass of her window. "Why can't I fall asleep tonight? Usually I love going to sleep, but tonight feels so different and special somehow." To her great surprise, the moon began to glow even brighter, and a silvery voice drifted through her open window like the gentlest breeze, carrying the scent of night-blooming flowers. "Dear Willow," said the moon, in a voice like wind chimes and whispered lullabies, "the stars in the Sleepy Star Garden have lost their drowsy magic. Without their peaceful light, children all over the world are having trouble falling asleep. Some are tossing and turning like you. Others are lying awake worrying about tomorrow, and some are having scary dreams instead of sweet ones. Would you help us restore the garden's magic?" Willow sat up in her bed, her eyes wide with wonder and her heart beating with excitement. "A Sleepy Star Garden? Oh yes, I'd love to help. But how can I get there? Is it very far away? And what happened to make the magic disappear?" The moon's voice grew warmer, like hot cocoa on a winter night. "The garden exists in the space between waking and sleeping, where dreams are born and peaceful thoughts grow like the most beautiful flowers. Close your eyes and make a wish to help all the sleepy children," the moon whispered. "But remember, dear one, the journey will require courage, kindness, and the ability to stay calm when faced with troubles that try to chase sleep away." Willow squeezed her eyes shut tight and wished with all her heart. She thought about all the children who might be lying awake right now, feeling frustrated and tired. She wished she could help them find all the peaceful sleep they needed. As she wished, she felt herself growing lighter and lighter, until she was floating like a dandelion seed on a warm summer breeze. Her nightgown transformed into a flowing dress that shimmered like moonbeams, and her bare feet tingled with stardust. When she opened her eyes, she was soaring through the starry sky, the earth far below, looking like a beautiful blue and green marble. The sensation of flying was even more wonderful than she had imagined. The wind was warm and gentle, carrying the scents of night-blooming jasmine and the distant sound of crickets singing their evening songs. Stars streaked past her like friendly fireflies, and she could hear them whispering to each other in voices like tiny silver bells. Below her stretched the most magnificent garden Willow had ever seen. It wasn't like any earthly garden. This one grew among the clouds, with pathways made of compressed stardust that sparkled and shimmered with every step. The flowers weren't ordinary flowers either, but living stars that had taken the shapes of roses, daisies, tulips, and chrysanthemums, each one glowing with its own gentle light. But something was clearly wrong. Many of the starflowers were dim and droopy, their usual peaceful glow barely flickering like candles about to go out. The pathways that should have been bright with stardust were growing gray and dull. Even the clouds that formed the garden's foundation seemed less fluffy and more tired than they should be. Willow landed gently on a soft cloud path, her bare feet sinking slightly into the fluffy white surface that felt like the most comfortable carpet in the world. The cloud was warm and supportive, not cold and wet like the clouds she'd seen from airplanes, and it smelled faintly of vanilla and fresh laundry. A tiny creature no bigger than her thumb came scurrying toward her, leaving a trail of golden sparkles with every step. It looked like a mouse, but it was made entirely of golden starlight, with whiskers that twinkled like tiny diamonds, and a tail that left a trail of glittering dust that smelled like cinnamon and honey. "Oh, thank goodness you're here," squeaked the star mouse in a voice like the tinkling of tiny bells. "I'm Tinkle, the keeper of the sleepy star garden. We're in terrible trouble, and I've been hoping and hoping that someone would come to help us." Twinkle looked worried and tired, his usual bright glow dimmed with concern. He wrung his tiny paws together and looked up at Willow with eyes that sparkled like dewdrops. "What happened to all the beautiful starflowers?" Willow asked, kneeling down so she could hear Twinkle better. As she knelt, she noticed that the cloud path was covered with tiny flowers that looked like miniature daisies, but each one was made of condensed moonlight and glowed softly. Twinkle's little star whiskers drooped sadly, and his tail stopped leaving its usual trail of sparkles. "The Dreamweaver's loom broke 3 nights ago during the Great Worry Storm. It was a terrible night when children all over the world were having nightmares and anxiety dreams all at once. The loom was working so hard to weave peaceful dreams that it finally cracked right down the middle." He led Willow over to a small hill where they could see the entire garden spread out below them. From this vantage point, Willow could see the full extent of the problem. Whole sections of the garden that should have been glowing with sleepy magic were now dim and gray. "Without the loom," Twinkle continued, "we can't spin the sleepy dreams that make our starflowers bloom with drowsy magic. The Dreamweaver lives in the crystal cave at the heart of the garden, but the path there is full of wide-awake troubles that chase sleep away. They've grown stronger and more troublesome since the loom broke, feeding on the worry and restlessness that's spreading through the garden." Willow felt a warm feeling in her chest, the same feeling she got whenever she saw someone who needed help. "Don't worry, Twinkle. I'll help you fix the Dreamweaver's loom. Will you show me the way?" Twinkle's entire body began to grow brighter with hope, his sparkles returning in little bursts of joy. "Oh, yes, but we must be very quiet and very sleepy as we walk. The wide-awake troubles can only bother us if we're too excited or worried. They feed on anxiety and restlessness, but they can't touch us if we stay calm and peaceful." He pulled out a tiny map made of woven starlight that showed the path to the crystal cave. The route wound through several different areas of the garden, each with its own special properties and potential challenges. Together, Willow and Twinkle began their journey down the winding stardust path. On either side of them grew the most unusual and beautiful plants Willow had ever seen. There were yawn trees with droopy branches that swayed gently in the starlight and made soft ah sounds like contented sighs. Their leaves were shaped like tiny pillows, and when the breeze rustled through them, they released little puffs of sparkly dust that smelled like chamomile tea. There were pillow flowers that looked exactly like tiny cushions, each one a different pastel color: lavender, pale pink, soft blue, gentle yellow, and the palest green. When Willow accidentally brushed against one, it felt exactly like the softest down pillow, and it released a little cloud of peaceful fragrance that made her eyelids feel pleasantly heavy. And there were lullaby vines that climbed up tall poles made of crystallized moonbeams. These vines hummed the sweetest, most peaceful melodies. Some sounded like her mother's voice singing her to sleep. Others like the gentle sound of rain on the roof, and still others like the soft whoosh of ocean waves on a distant shore. As they walked deeper into the garden, passing beds of sleepy moss that glowed with a soft blue light and patches of dream grass that whispered encouraging words like "rest now" and "peaceful sleep," Willow began to feel wonderfully drowsy. Her eyelids grew heavy, and she had to fight the urge to curl up among the pillow flowers for a nap. "That's perfect," Twinkle whispered, his voice no louder than a butterfly's wings. "You're feeling the garden's remaining sleepy magic. It will protect us from the wide-awake troubles. The more peaceful and drowsy you feel, the less power they have over you." They passed a small pond filled with liquid starlight where cloud sheep were drinking. These weren't ordinary sheep, but creatures made of soft, fluffy clouds that floated just above the ground. They were all peacefully sleepy, their quiet ba-ah sounds so soothing that Willow felt even more relaxed. Some of the sheep were already asleep, floating gently above beds of silver grass, their woolly cloud bodies rising and falling with each peaceful breath. Next to the pond grew a grove of snoozeberries, tiny fruits that looked like purple grapes but glowed from within with a gentle light. Twinkle explained that the Dreamweavers sometimes made sleepy tea from these berries for children who had particularly bad cases of insomnia. Just then, they heard a loud crash, bang, clatter coming from up ahead. The peaceful atmosphere of the garden was suddenly shattered by the most jarring, sleep-disturbing noise imaginable. Around a bend in the path came rolling an enormous ball of tangled alarm clocks, all ringing and clanging and making the most terrible racket. The ball was at least 10 feet tall, made up of hundreds of alarm clocks of every shape and size, old-fashioned brass ones with twin bells, digital ones with harsh electronic beeps, rooster-shaped ones that crowed loudly, and even some that played annoying pop songs instead of traditional alarm sounds. "Oh no!" squeaked Twinkle, his glow dimming with worry. "It's the wake-up worry ball. If it catches us, we'll be too startled and anxious to feel sleepy. It's one of the worst wide-awake troubles in the whole garden." The wake-up worry ball was rolling straight toward them, gaining speed and getting louder with every second. The noise was so jarring that Willow felt her peaceful drowsiness beginning to slip away, replaced by the kind of wide-awake alertness that made sleep impossible. But then, Willow remembered what Twinkle had said about staying sleepy and calm. she took a deep breath, filling her lungs with the sweet, peaceful air of the garden, and began to hum a gentle lullaby her grandmother used to sing to her. It was a simple melody about stars and moonbeams, with words that spoke of safety, comfort, and peaceful rest. As she hummed, something magical happened. The wake-up worry ball began to slow down, its frantic rolling becoming more of a gentle roll. The alarm clock's harsh ringing grew softer and softer, until they were making peaceful ticking sounds like rain on a window, or the gentle tock, tock, tock of a grandfather clock in a quiet house. One by one, the alarm clocks began to yawn, which was quite a sight to see, since alarm clocks don't usually have mouths. But these were magical alarm clocks, and they opened little doors where their mouths should be, and let out the most contented "ah" sounds. "That was amazing!" Twinkle cheered in a tiny whisper, careful not to disturb the newly peaceful atmosphere. "Your sleepy song made the wake-up worry ball sleepy too. You're already learning the magic of the garden." They continued on their way, the path now leading them through a section called the Meadow of Gentle Thoughts. Here, the grass was made of soft silvery strands that felt like silk beneath their feet, and flowers grew that looked like tiny thought bubbles. Each bubble contained a peaceful, happy thought, images of cozy blankets, warm hugs, favorite teddy bears, and loving family members saying goodnight. Next, they came to a bridge made of woven moonbeams that stretched across a river of liquid starlight. The river babbled and gurgled with the most peaceful sounds, like a gentle brook mixed with soft whispers of "sleep tight" and "sweet dreams" and "rest well, little one." As they crossed the bridge, Willow looked down into the starlight river and saw reflections of sleeping children from all over the world. Some were snuggled in beds, others were napping in hammocks, and some were dozing peacefully in their parents' arms. But many of the reflections showed children who were restless, tossing and turning, or staring at the ceiling with wide, worried eyes. "We have to help them," Willow said softly, her heart filling with determination. "We will," Twinkle promised. "The Dreamweaver's loom is the key to everything." As they began to climb a hill made entirely of smooth, glowing crystals, they encountered another wide-awake trouble. This one was much larger and more frightening than the wake-up worry ball. It looked like a huge fuzzy monster with dozens of eyes that never blinked and dozens of mouths that chattered constantly about all the things there were to worry about. The monster was covered in dark, shaggy fur, and its many eyes darted back and forth constantly, never focusing on any one thing for more than a second. Its multiple mouths never stopped talking. "What if this doesn't work?" chattered one mouth. "What if that goes wrong?" worried another. "What if you're not smart enough? What if you're not brave enough? What if you get lost? What if, what if, what if?" They all said together in a cacophony of anxiety. Willow felt her heart begin to race, and the sleepy feeling started to slip away like water through her fingers. The what-if monster's constant worrying was making her think of all the things that could go wrong. But then she remembered something her mother always told her when she had worries at bedtime. Her mother would sit on the edge of her bed and say, "Willow, sweetheart, when you have worries, the best thing to do is imagine them floating away like soap bubbles." "When you have worries," Willow said gently to the monster, "the best thing to do is imagine them floating away like soap bubbles." She closed her eyes and imagined all her own little worries turning into beautiful shimmering bubbles that caught the light from the crystal hill. She watched in her mind as these bubble worries floated up, up, up into the starry sky, becoming smaller and smaller until they popped harmlessly and disappeared into speckles of stardust. As she did this, something amazing happened. The what-if monster began to change. Its many eyes grew heavy and started to close one by one, like flowers closing their petals at the end of the day. Its chattering mouths grew quiet and began to yawn, releasing all the worried words in great big sighs of relief. "What if everything works out okay?" said one mouth drowsily. What if there's nothing to worry about after all?" yawned another. Soon, the what-if monster was curled up like a sleeping puppy, snoring peacefully and no longer bothering anyone with anxious thoughts. Its dark fur had become soft and gray, like a comfortable blanket. "Willow, you're amazing," Twinkle whispered. "You've learned the secret of the sleepy star garden. When we stay calm and peaceful, we can help others feel that way too." At last, they reached the crystal cave at the very top of the crystal hill. The entrance was an archway made of rose quartz that glowed with the softest pink light, and wind chimes made of tiny crystals tinkled gently in the breeze. Inside, Willow gasped with wonder. The cave was filled with the most beautiful crystals she had ever seen, each one glowing with soft, dreamy colors: lavender amethyst, pale blue celestite, gentle pink rose quartz, and silvery white moonstone. The crystals grew from the floor, walls, and ceiling like an underground forest of light, and each one hummed with a different peaceful tone. In the center of the cave sat the Dreamweaver. She was the most magical person Willow had ever seen, with long flowing hair that seemed to be made of wispy clouds and morning mist. She wore a dress that sparkled like the night sky, covered in tiny stars that twinkled and moved as if they were alive. Her eyes were warm and gentle, the color of deep twilight sky. But despite her magical appearance, the Dreamweaver looked very sad as she sat beside her broken loom. The loom was clearly once magnificent. It was made of crystallized moonbeams and stardust, but now it was cracked right down the middle, with broken threads hanging limply from its frame. "Oh, Dreamweaver," Willow said softly, "we've come to help fix your loom so the starflowers can bloom again." The Dreamweaver looked up with hope beginning to shine in her starry eyes. "Dear child, I've been trying to fix it for 3 days and 3 nights, but I'm missing the most important part, a thread spun from peaceful dreams themselves. Without it, I cannot weave the sleepy magic that helps children everywhere fall asleep." Willow thought hard. Then she remembered all the peaceful, sleepy feelings she'd had during their journey through the garden. She thought about the gentle yawn trees, the soft pillow flowers, and the soothing lullaby vines. She thought about how good it felt to help the wake-up worry ball and the what-if monster find peace. "What if," Willow said slowly, "what if I try to spin that thread? I've collected so many peaceful feelings tonight, and I've learned how to help troubled things find rest." The Dreamweaver's face lit up like a sunlight. "Oh, my dear, yes, that might work. Here, sit at my spinning wheel." Willow sat at the beautiful spinning wheel, which was made of silver moonbeams and had a seat as soft as a cloud. She closed her eyes and thought about every peaceful, sleepy moment from her journey. As she did, she began to feel a warm, glowing sensation in her hands. When she opened her eyes, the most beautiful thread was forming on the spinning wheel. It shimmered with all the colors of peaceful sleep, soft purples and blues, gentle silvers and whites. The thread seemed to hum with lullabies and sparkle with dream dust. "It's working!" cried Twinkle, doing a little dance of joy. The Dreamweaver quickly took the magical thread and began to repair her loom. As she worked, she hummed a melody so beautiful and soothing that Willow felt her eyes growing heavy again. The melody contained the sound of every peaceful thing in the world: whispers of wind through leaves, gentle lapping of waves, soft purring of a contented cat, and the loving voice of every parent who had ever sung their child to sleep. Soon, the loom was not just repaired, but more beautiful than it had ever been. The peace thread had strengthened the entire structure, making it glow with a warm, steady light. As the Dreamweaver began to weave, the most magnificent thing happened. Streams of glowing, sleepy magic began to flow out from the loom, spreading through the crystal cave and out into the sleepy star garden like gentle rivers of light. Willow and Twinkle hurried outside to watch as the magic reached every corner of the garden. The starflowers that had been dim and droopy began to glow brightly again, their petals opening to release gentle sparkles of sleepy magic. The yawn trees stretched their branches and yawned contentedly. The pillow flowers puffed up soft and inviting. The lullaby vines began to sing their sweetest songs. All throughout the garden, a peaceful, drowsy magic spread like the softest blanket, reaching up into the sky and floating down to earth like the gentlest snow made of crystallized dreams. "Willow," the moon's voice drifted down from above, "you've saved bedtime for children everywhere. The starflowers are blooming again, and their sleepy magic will help everyone have the most wonderful, peaceful dreams." Willow felt so proud and happy, but also wonderfully, perfectly sleepy. Her eyelids were growing heavier and heavier. "Thank you, dear Willow," whispered the Dreamweaver, appearing beside them. "As a reward for your kindness and bravery, I'm giving you a special gift." She handed Willow a tiny starflower that glowed with the gentlest light. "Keep this by your bed, and you'll never have trouble falling asleep again. And whenever you're feeling worried or scared at bedtime, just hold it close and remember your adventure in the sleepy star garden." Willow took the beautiful starflower and held it carefully. It felt warm and comforting, like a hug from someone who loved her very much. "Now," said the moon, "it's time for you to go home and get the sleep you've helped make possible." Twinkle scurried up to Willow's shoulders and gave her the tiniest kiss on her cheek. "Thank you for saving our garden, Willow. Sweet dreams." Willow felt herself growing lighter again, floating up on silvery moonbeams. As she drifted through the starry sky toward home, she could see the sleepy star garden below, glowing peacefully and sending gentle dreams out into the world. She floated through her bedroom window and settled softly into her own cozy bed. The little starflower pulsed gently in her hand, filling her room with the most peaceful, sleepy light. Willow placed the starflower on her nightstand where it could watch over her dreams. Already, she could feel the wonderful drowsiness spreading through her whole body. As she snuggled deeper into her pillows and pulled her soft blanket up to her chin, Willow smiled. She had helped save bedtime for children everywhere, and now she could finally enjoy the gift of peaceful sleep herself. Outside her window, the moon winked one more time, and all the stars in the sky twinkled a gentle good night. The Dreamweaver's loom hummed softly in the distance, weaving dreams of adventure and kindness, of helping others and feeling proud, of magical gardens and friendly creatures. Willow's breathing grew slow and deep. Her eyes fluttered closed, and as the starflower's gentle light rocked her to sleep, she began to dream the most wonderful dream of all, a dream where every child in the world was sleeping peacefully, surrounded by the magic of the sleepy star garden. And from that night on, Whenever Willow placed her head on her pillow, she would remember her magical adventure and drift off to sleep with a smile, knowing that somewhere among the stars, Twinkle and the Dreamweaver were watching over all the sleeping children of the world. Sleep tight, little dreamers. May your dreams be filled with starflowers and gentle magic. The end.